There's a lot of skirt to wrangle here. Hey peeps, welcome to another video. Today it is my 8577 Vogue pattern review. Now I have made 7 of these dresses, 7 from this one here through to this one here. The rest of this is Cobra Corsage. You're seeing this soon. But yeah, I've made 7 of these dresses, including the one I'm wearing, in total. There will be more. Just putting that out there now. There will be more. I absolutely love this dress. Now, I hadn't even registered this pattern when it had come out. I completely discounted it. The front of the pattern has just got illustrations on it. There's no made item, which I kind of like, but also I wish there had been but then some of the made items that they make are not the most visually appealing, shall we say. So I ended up with a customer actually bringing this to me. She wanted me to make her a dress for an event. I can't remember what event it was. She'd bought the fabric, she bought the pattern, and she wanted me to make it for her. So I did. In the process of making it, it was just like, oh, this is a nice shirt dress. It's got a big skirt. Because when you look at this, it doesn't initially scream 50s, and at the time I was going through a very kind of 1950s silhouette, you know, that I was enjoying wearing. If you actually kind of look at the line drawings, it looks a lot more 50s than necessary. I don't know, maybe VC does as well, with the sleeves and the collar. But yeah, I made this dress for this lady, absolutely fell in love with it, and ordered myself some fabric and made myself one. And this is my very first one. This is the Lady McElroy Cobra Corsage Noir Cotton Lawn. This was also my gateway into Lady McElroy fabrics. I remember I went to the very first dressmakers ball and somebody was there wearing a gorgeous pencil skirted dress made from this fabric, and it was just like, oh, that is amazing. It looks so Gucci-esque. Love, 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 love. Managed to track it down. At the time it wasn't everywhere like it is now, and bought myself some, and I think I got it from Fabric Godmother. Not 100% sure on that, but this was my very first Lady McElroy print that I'm aware of. I don't think any of the other ones I'd had previously were. And I think this is one of the very first times I started working with cotton lawn as opposed to quilting cottons as well, because I had to have this print. Absolutely had to have this print. These dresses are fabric hungry beasts. The pattern calls for at least 3.8 for the short skirted one, and then the larger skirted ones are 4.5 meters of the 150 wide, and I'm kind of going from the middle of the range. The least they want is 4.5, the most they want is 4.8 if it's 150 wide. This is 140 and I buy 5 meters of it. This was actually one of the very first collections that I ever sewed, and this was my statement print, and then everything else in that collection was a solid. Most of that collection has gone by the wayside. I don't have a lot of it. I will have linked it up here for you, but I really liked the idea of it, sewing in collections. And again, Emily Hallman, I follow her on Instagram, and just love the way that she was putting together different sort of pieces, that it wasn't just a kind of scattergun approach of dress, 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 this, none of it goes together. She was actively thinking about pairing outfits together. I've tried that. I don't wear separates very often. I still make them. There's quite a few back here, but I don't wear them very often. But this was part of my very first collection, and I featured that as one of the better performing videos on my YouTube, despite the fact that I think the twirls are out of focus. I am sorry about that. I was using my dad's camera at the time. It doesn't have well, it does have autofocus, but I for some reason hadn't put it on. Anyway, I digress. Made this for a lady, loved it, bought some fabric for myself, made mine up. Absolutely adore this dress, adore it. I really, really love this dress. So back of the pattern envelope has no finished garment measurements on it. It has back length from base of your neck for dress A and dress B and C. This is recommended for a pear shape, an hourglass, or a upside down triangle, so broader shoulders, narrower hips. It's not recommended for the rectangular shape, at least that's according to the back of the envelope. They suggest batiste, gingham, washed silk and lightweight linen, unsuitable for obvious diagonals, allow extra fabric to match plaids and stripes, Use nap yardage layouts for pile, shaded or one-way designed fabrics with nap, without nap. Okay, you need 10 half-inch buttons and half-inch single fold bias tape. It doesn't say how much, it just says you need it. That's not helpful. Close-fitting lined flared dress ABC have darts, front and back gathers, side front pockets with pocket bands and button front closing. A and B has sleeves, C sleeves with cuffs. A and B have no sleeves, just the sleeves. C with cuffs, A mid knee length, B and C lower calf length, and there's also a collar option on this one. So I've never done one with a collar and I've never done one with the sleeves. Mum has usually puts a collar and the sleeves on hers. She has made 2 of them and she's got another one cut out at the moment, but she is putting on a half circle skirt instead of the very full skirt because Mum doesn't like to flounce around in as much fabric as I do. As I mentioned, this is a fabric hungry beast. 5 meters of the outer fabric and 5 meters of lining. I fully line all of my dresses because I like the extra poof that gives. It also covers up the fact that for the seams on this dress I actually pink them. Let me see if I can find a seam. Yeah, I actually pink my seams on the inside of these dresses rather than French seaming them. And that is because I am doing a size 12 bust and a size 10 waist. And I sew this with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance rather than the 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. So when I was tracing this out, size 12 is for a 34-inch bust and the size 10 is for a 25-inch waist. I don't remember what the finished garment measurements are for this one, but I would imagine that the 25-inch for the... Should we find them? Let's try and find them. Fun times. Okay, what pattern pieces am I looking for? I am looking for pattern piece 1 and 4. Is that right? Yes. No, middle front. So 1 and 5. I'm looking for pattern pieces 1 and 5. Let's see, because I mean these are giant pattern pieces. These skirts are huge. That looks like a lot of skirt. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So pattern piece number 5. So the waist on this is 27.5 inches for the size 10, and that's from a 25-inch waist. So 2.5 inches of wearing is actually that's not that bad. It's still big, more than I would want. These days I would trace a size 12. Let's see where the bust one is. Pattern piece number 1, number 2, just making a mess. Here we go. That looks like a, yes, here we go. So the 12 is a 37-inch finished measurement, and that was from 34, so 35, 36, so it's 3 inches of ease around the bust and 2.5 inches of ease around the waist. Still more than I like, but actually not as bad as some patterns that I've come across in the past. Still looking at you McCall's pattern with 8 inches of ease around the waist on a fitted garment. The fitted knit garment as well. As I say, I've cut out a size 12 for the bust, which was a 37-inch finished measurement, and a size 10 for the waist, which was 27.5 inches finished measurement. And then I sew this with 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. I did this dress quite a long time ago, maybe 4 years ago, maybe 5. At the time I'd traced everything out and I'd made a muslin up, and the muslin was too tight sewing it with 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. So I let the seam allowances out to 3/8 of an inch and it fit fine, and I just since then have not retraced the pattern because I don't wanna, because it's a lot of pattern to trace. My folder is chunky. I sew the bodice front with 3/8 of an inch, side seams with 3/8 of an inch, and this one and this one actually have a centre back seam as well, and I sewed those with 3/8 of an inch. I've since eliminated the centre back seam, and so the fit of the next couple of dresses is actually a little bit tighter, and I need to remember that and maybe just take that into account when I'm cutting that back fold on the fold rather than on a seam, because I'm losing 1/2 inch of ease back there. Those dresses fit, but they're not quite as comfortable as these ones, this one and the next one that I made. So you guys loved this one so much, you asked for a sew along, so I made, this was my second one, which is really not doing it any favors here, but yeah, this was my second one, and I talk you through the entire process of making this dress, cutting it out. I cut this out on a single layer of fabric because this is a directional print. I have for this one again put in that centre back seam, but I have since eliminated that. That's the only change I've made to the sew along though. The rest of the sew along is the way I make the rest of these is exactly the same. One thing that I do change, ooh, got some stitching coming loose there. Might need to go back in and just tighten that up, because I have, for this one, I have slip stitched the facing piece to the lining. The thing that I have changed is the facing, because of the way they want you to finish it by turning the seam allowance under, you end up with a bit flapping free, because I don't know if you can see it there, but I've got these bits that haven't been caught in the seam allowance when I was sewing the tops of the facing in for this dress. So I now just extend those facing pieces. It all gets caught in when you are finishing off the front edge of the dress. I have had a couple of people comment and just say, oh, I completely ignored you when you told me to do that, and I've ended up with my facings flapping free, and it's like, yep. The other thing you could do for that is trim off the 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Just finish it the way that I do, so that what they're intending to be your edge is your actual edge. The only trouble with that is if you use larger buttons, which I have done for some of these, then your facing might not be wide enough, where you then start hitting the bias binding, which can fluff up your buttonholes. Ask me how I know. The next one I made was this one. This is the only one that I've got that is not a cotton lawn. This is a viscose linen blend that I got from Stitch Fabrics. I was going to say it's the only one that's not a Lady Macilroy as well, but the next one's not Lady Macilroy. I love this. This I wear in both the summer and the winter. I use this as a layering piece in the winter. I'll put a roll neck underneath of it, cardigan over the top, tights, thigh-high boots, and you know, a coat over the top of this, and I'm plenty warm enough. I also wear it in the summer months with just a slip underneath of it, and again, plenty cool enough. So I do like this dress as a layering piece. I don't wear the cotton lawn ones layered very often, but I have done, especially with this Jungle Tropics one. But it is a great layering piece, especially if you don't put on the collar and sleeves. I have traced out the collar and sleeves. I'm not ruling out doing those. I have an idea for a dress that I would like to make, a all black dress with a detachable collar. I've seen this picture on Pinterest with this beautiful black shirt dress with bees embroidered onto the collar, and it's gorgeous, but I know that I wouldn't wear it quite so often with that very detailed embroidery on the collar. So what I'm thinking is I'd like to make this dress and work out a way that the collar becomes something that you can button on, which means the collar would be interchangeable, because another thing that I would like to do is make a white collar with like a red lipstick kiss on it. I think that would be really cool. That's just how it works in my head. So having detachable collars that you could either wear with this dress or wear the dress without. And I think there's a way of doing it where you add buttonholes to the interior of the, no, it would be buttons to the interior, little tiny buttons to the interior of the neckband, and then you add buttonholes to the collars, or the other way around, depending if the buttons might become annoying, but so that the collar just buttons on, and then you can have a variety of different collars to wear with this otherwise very plain black dress. I haven't gotten around to that yet, because we all know I love a good print, and I very, very rarely make anything in dark solid colours, but it does happen occasionally. So that is something, an idea I've got for a dress in the future. Next up, I made these two at the same time, but let's talk about this one first. I think this might be the most expensive dress I've ever made. This is the Liberty Carline print in the blue colourway. It is absolutely gorgeous. This fabric costs, when I bought it, £22.50 a metre. It now costs £25 a metre, so it is not an inexpensive piece. It is yeah, I mean, of course I see this fabric and want to make a giant dress out of it. I do buy 5 meters of these 140 wide prints, and I do get a full 8577 out of it. And so far I have managed to also squeeze out a shirt from the remnants as well. I don't end up with like a yard or a meter of the full width of the fabric left, but because of the way the skirt panels get cut, you do end up with some really decently sized pieces of fabric left that you can totally, if you fussy cut, get a shirt out of. So I have, this is in my rose collection, the leftovers from this, and I'm hoping to make a tie front shirt from this. Either the 5951, might have that number wrong, or the 9345 with the tie added on from the previous shirt, which is something that I have made 2 of back here. I used some, they're actually plastic, but they're kind of iridescent shell-like buttons on this one and the Amaryllis print, which this one here you'll see in a second. Just absolutely love it. And this is the first time that I've eliminated, oh no, sorry, this was the first time I eliminated the back seam, and it has made for a slightly tighter fit, so I do need to remember that, but I can get these on and I do wear them and I love them. So here we go, the Amaryllis print, again another Lady McElroy. It is absolutely stunning. I was given a voucher for Sherwood's from the very lovely Alex and Hedge Hubby from Gingerhead & Co. This is the fabric that I bought with it. As I mentioned, I usually can get a shirt out of this, so I got a little tie front shirt out of this as well, and I bought a remnant of this fabric from Fabric Godmother, so I've got 1.5 meters in my stash too, so that might end up being a Melilo or something like that if I like that pattern. This is an absolutely beautiful dress. I think it's just stunning. I love this fabric. I really enjoy wearing this. It goes really well with obviously pink accessories, the orange accessories and blue accessories, or white accessories. I mean, that's one of the reasons I love prints like this, is that they're very versatile. It is a statement dress. They were all statement dresses, but I wear them very, very frequently, as you guys have seen. So yeah, really love this one. And then we've got another Lady McElroy print. This is called Jungle Tropics. I really hope that they bring this out on viscose. So far it's only on Canvas Drill, or the Candace Drill, and the Cotton Lawn. I got this particular length of fabric from Sew Over It during one of the storms, and I've told this story a load of times, but they'd mislabelled it at £12 per metre and they were doing a discount for the party that never happened. Mum and I turned up. Thankfully the shop was still open. They let us in and let us shop and gave us the discount, and so I got this fabric for an absolute bargain. Again, I've got enough left over to make a shirt with it, so it's in my leaf collection, which I've just started. Finished Cobra Corsage, started on leaves, got some of this left over to make a shirt out of it, and I absolutely love it. This is so much fun to wear as well. And this one I actually made in winter, and I have worn this one with a black roll neck underneath of it, black boots and a cardigan over the top, and again felt plenty warm enough in it. There's a lot of fabric here to keep you warm, but yeah, I just absolutely love this one. This one I've used black shell buttons on, and little tiny little buttons this time, and yeah, really, really pleased with how this one's come out. And the final one I have just finished is the very last piece of Cobra Corsage that I have to sew up, and it's the Kiwi Cotton Lawn, and it is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And again, I had enough left to make a shirt, so I've got a little tie front shirt there, which does not want to get hung back up. So again, the only thing I've changed with this one from the sew along is there is no centre back seam, and that's just because you don't need it. The yoke is supposed to be cut on the bias. I can't work out a reason for that unless you were doing stripes. You could have a lot of fun with putting stripes into this pattern. The skirt might get a little bit squiffy. You definitely want to follow their recommended grain lines if you are cutting out stripes or plaids with this one, but it does say you can do that. So yeah, I haven't made a stripy one, as you can tell, but maybe I should and put that centre back seam back in. So I went for giant coconut shell buttons this time, completely ignored their recommendation of 1/2 inch buttons, went for 3/4 of an inch buttons. I really like it. I know not everyone agrees with me, but I think these coconut shell buttons go with everything. When I was buttoning this up earlier for the 12s, turns out I've missed a button off at the bottom, the very last one, so I need to sew another button onto that, but I'm super happy with how this came out. This was my Can I Sew a Dress in a Day video. This went up yesterday, so here's a link to it there, and also in the description down below. Yes, you can sew a dress in a day as long as you don't have to cut it out, and if you start before 4 o'clock in the afternoon and don't want to work past 10. So this took 9 hours from start to finish, including the hand hemming of the 6 metre 18 centimetre hem. I measured it because my sister-in-law just finished one in that colour, Cobra Corsage, and wanted to know. The hem of this is 6 metres and 18 centimetres. Really love this dress. Really love this dress. So once upon a time I did make an arbitrary rule that was 5 and move on, but I'm up to 7. There will be more. When I buy a Lady McElroy print, especially on their Cotton Lawn, my first thought is always, I'm going to make an 8577 out of it, so I will buy 5 metres. I don't always. There's a 9345 back here in the Cobra Corsage Chantilly colourway. I thought 3 Cobra Corsage 8577s might be excessive. I'm saying might, not is, might. But in my head when I buy those prints, it tends to be, the thought process tends to be, 8577. And I get a lot of people asking me, how do you determine how much fabric you buy? And for me, I usually buy 5 meters because that pretty much guarantees that I can make whatever I want with it. Even if it ends up being a different dress and then a different shirt or a skirt or something like that, I will tend to buy 5 meters of cotton lawn. With viscoses, my usual go-to dress is the Eve dress, which again I have done a review for, and you can have a look at that video up there or down below. I need 3 meters of the 140 wide. I can get it out of 110, but I can usually squeeze out another top if I've got 140 as well. So my usual go-to is 3 meters for viscose, because again, in my head, every viscose I see is usually going to be an Eve dress. If they're not ridiculously expensive, I will get 5 meters of viscose, because I mean, I had 8 meters of the mulberry and I've made 3 items of it out of it. So, you know, it's never like I'm going to not use the fabric, and I really don't mind having multiple items of the same print in my wardrobe. But yeah, in my head, most of my Lady McElroy fabrics, of which there is a cubby hole back here that you can't see, most of those are going to be 8577s. They're not all going to be 8577s, but I'm not ruling out making more because I'm not sure that 7 is enough. Maybe 10. 10's a nice round number. Maybe I should 10. But the other side of things as well is, if you've spent a lot of time perfecting a pattern, you enjoy wearing a pattern, then I see nothing wrong with making multiples of that. I mean, By Hand London and a bodice, we're looking at you 40 and counting. I see absolutely nothing wrong with making a repeat of a pattern that you know and love. I wear mine frequently. The one that I don't wear quite so frequently is the Liberty one, and that is because I am terrified of spilling things on it, getting things on it and ruining it, because it was just so expensive. But that's stupid. I should just wear the damn thing, because otherwise it's just going to sit in the cupboard for best, and I don't believe in that. I am usually thoroughly overdressed for every single event that I ever do or go to, but I don't care because I feel happy in what I wear. So if you found a pattern that you love as much as I love this one, and you want to make a million of it, go for it. There are no rules when it comes to making your dream wardrobe. You do you, 100%. So, have any of you made the 8577? Have I talked you into it after this review? Let me know in the comments section down below. Is it a dress that you had even come across other than me raving about it constantly? Had you seen it anywhere? Would you have bought it from just the envelope? Because I know I didn't. It did take me making one for somebody else to get me to actually make one for myself. I have made, I think 3 other ones for other customers. I think that's right. Yes, that is correct. 2 of which actually were in slinky fabrics, and as you'll notice, I've not made any of these in slinky fabrics. And I do like them on other people, but I think one of the things I like about the cotton lawn is the poofiness of it. I like the fact that it emphasises my hourglass shape, that it shows that I go in and out. I feel like I get that poofy factor from the 2 layers of cotton lawn in the skirt, and I feel that, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm not sure that I would love this dress in a viscose or crepe fabric. I'm not sure it would, in my head, be something that I would reach for very, very often, because I'm so enamoured with the cotton lawn floofy ones, where a drapey one might not be for me. But I'm going to be really interested to see my sister-in-law's take in the teal cobra corsage, because I think it might be something that would push me over the edge to be like, you know what, I do need one of those. I do need one of those. So yes, let me know in the comments down below if the 8577 is a pattern that you had thought about making. Have I talked you into it? Have you made one already? Would you have made one from just this envelope? Let me know in the comment section down below, because I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this particular pattern. It's definitely one of my favourites. Top 10 for sure. I wonder if I should do a video of like my favourite patterns. I wonder if I should do a video of my favourite patterns, and I wonder if I should do a video of my most made patterns, and I wonder if they would actually overlap. You'd think they would, but maybe, yeah. That could be interesting. Anyway, tangent, sorry. Let me know in the comment section down below. I would be very interested to hear about your 8577 experiences. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.